What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. What's up, friends and family? We in the building. Let me give a round of applause for everybody that's here today. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We in the building. What up, friends and family? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. My daughter is trying to get me to negotiate to make some upgrades and make some cosmetic changes to the Challenger. But I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Cosmetic changes to the Challenger. I don't know about that. Anyways, what up, friends? How y'all feel today? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I appreciate y'all. Somebody said, was it a time change? Not really, but the show didn't end till after 1 o'clock in the morning last night on the Anton Daniels channel. So I've been prioritizing health. Also, in addition to bag chasing, especially considering that I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. So absolutely not. It's not a time change, but then technically, sometimes, I don't know. It just depends. We here though. What up? What up? What up? No, man, I don't do wide body. I don't like the wide body. I like the narrow body. Everybody is doing the wide body. I like the narrow body and all of that stuff. So we chilling. What's going on, friends and family? We are here. Welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Man, Patreon yesterday was lit. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers. Shout out to everybody that restreamed the live that we did yesterday. I've uploaded it for you guys to be able to go back and look at and stuff like that. Shout out to all of y'all because we had a phenomenal and awesome, incredible live stream in Stock Club. We back at it. Shout out to all of the bag chasers. It was crazy. It was crazy. Absolutely insane how well we did. And all the information that we had, it seemed like that hour went by fast in the mugs. I had so much more information. So Yeah, man, we got to it. It was fire, wasn't it? It was a lot of information, a lot of information. If y'all not leveraging this information in order to get rich, if y'all not taking advantage of it, yesterday we did a live stream and we identified the companies and the industries that we need to be paying attention to as far as how we can manage our resources and to get rich during this upcoming administration over the next 3.5, 4 years. And so if y'all not taking advantage of that, y'all are seriously, seriously missing out. All right. Yeah, man, it was awesome. Make sure that y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40%. And I can't tell y'all what we talked about because that's exclusive to the Bag Chasers. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure y'all get y'all tickets to come and kick it with Tom Dog in person. It is going to be a great, awesome show. And I guarantee you're going to have fun and you're going to meet me and you're going to be like, you know what? He way more just like that in person than he is online. And so they say never meet your heroes unless it's Anton from AntonDaniels.com. And I'm not saying that I'm your hero, but I am absolutely saying that you need to come and kick it with me in person. You're going to have a great experience. You're going to remember it. And it's going to be something that you're going to tell your kids about. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, in addition to that, we got a full show for you guys today. I will be covering super chats, cash apps, all of that stuff. So thank you to everybody that support the platform. And we're going to get to it. All right. We got after hours tonight. We don't miss. After hours is popping. Shout out to Gone Postal. I appreciate you on Cash App. And also, I want to give a shout out to Mike, that dude in ESDC. Shout out to y'all also on Cash App, bro. I also want to, it is foreshadowed that your brand will grow into a media company. Well, I received that. I know that. That's what we planning for. That's what we planning for. That's why I've been putting things in place because I want to make sure. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. Unordinaries says, I don't know if you invest in crypto at all, Anton, but Dogecoin seems to be promising since Trump got in office. Only at 37 cents a share right now. Well, listen, anybody that knows me, and thank you, I appreciate you, big dog. Anybody that knows me knows that I will never, under any circumstances, ever put myself into something or invest into something that I do not fully understand. I don't care what everybody is running up to. I don't care how much you're making money off of it. I don't care what the numbers are. I will never, under any circumstance, I live what I say and I say what I mean, and I will never tell you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I will never invest in something that I do not 100%. If it's 99, 98, 97, 99.9, I'm not putting my money in it unless I absolutely 100% understand it. I know that there's a lot of people making money from it. Congratulations. God bless you. We making money in other ways, but unless I 100% understand it, which removes the gambling aspect of it, and then it helps me to make an informed decision, and then it means that I'm taking a calculated risk. That's when I'll start talking about it. That's when I'll invest in it, and that's when I'll put my money up. But until then, I cannot. I absolutely cannot. I'm sorry. It goes against my business philosophy. It goes against the core of who I am. Thank you, K. Cooper. Yes, we did cross 300,000 subscribers. Shout out to y'all on After Hours. We did cross 300,000 subscribers. Thank y'all for always holding me down. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? We got a lot to cover. We got to go over this $20 million hole that Kamala Harris is in after spending over $1 billion. We got to go over Tom Homan and show you who he is and his clashes with AOC. We got news on Chicago, Brooklyn, why the United States of America can't make cheap cars, Tulsi Gabbard, the migrant crisis, whole show. So lock in. The next 2 hours, we going to get you through this work day. We going to get you through that work from home. We going to get you through your chores. We going to get you through the daycare centers. Throw me on the TV. Send me to your friends and family, and let's run it up, all right? First things first is quick hits. The fuck? Yeah, as a media company, we got to fix that. Quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on in these streets, man. Okay? So first things first on quick hits. 2 people are arrested after a 7-year-old was shot in Harlem. Check it out and take a look.
A developing story. 2 suspects are now facing attempted murder charges after police say a 7-year-old girl was shot by a stray bullet outside a Harlem Starbucks.
A frightening video recorded inside the coffee shop during the shooting shows customers, including children, scrambling to take cover. Elijah Westbrook is live in Harlem this morning. And Elijah, what are we learning about these suspects this morning?
Well, Chris and Mary, we just got some new information from the NYPD. They're telling us that 2 male suspects, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old, as you mentioned, both being hit with attempted murder. We're also learning the 19-year-old is also being charged with 4 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. Of course, this after that 7-year-old girl was shot here at this intersection, 145th and Bradhurst Avenue, where there was also an active police investigation taking place really since yesterday afternoon. Watch as a mother and her young daughter duck for cover inside this Harlem Starbucks as gunshots ring out just outside. Investigators say it was in that moment when the suspects began firing at least 9 rounds at rival gang members on the corner. The 7-year-old girl who was on the sidewalk with her family was shot in the stomach. Video here shows the family devastated as first responders gave the child CPR before rushing her over to Harlem Hospital.
She was just in total shock looking down at her wound. He was saying that he wished it was him that was shot. He was like, I wish it was me. They could have killed me.
Pray for the quick recovery, and it's never a good thing when a child is a victim of a shooting. It's never a good thing when any innocent bystander is a victim.
Police say the girl is undergoing surgery at the hospital. She's in stable condition as we speak and is expected to survive.
This is why when you take gun classes, in order to be a CPO holder, and obviously we know that the people that are firing weapons are not CPO holders and responsible gun owners, which is why we don't want the government to ever ban our guns, because then you would just leave the criminals with switches out here to go out here and terrorize the entire United States of America. But this is why when you take a CPO class, they train you, they talk about the importance of gun safety. They go over the fact that under no circumstances and as a last resort, you want to get into a gunfight, because ultimately it's usually the ones that are innocent bystanders that suffer. You going in there, get a Starbucks, next thing you know, your daughter is shot, 2-year-old, and now you got 2 people in custody over in Harlem. It's crazy. Anyways, in addition to that, Chicago. Now, you know, we're going to rededicate ourselves to Chicago and stay on top of that. Mayor Mohawk, look how ridiculous this looks. Look how ridiculous this picture is. Think about what y'all doing when y'all vote. Think about it. No, Chicago. Come here. You know, I've been having a lot of different people on here from Chicago tell us our stories and what happens. Chicago. Look at what we got here. Now, if this man, before we even get into this story about this property tax proposal hike that they having a lot of controversy over in Chicago, because the people is basically being ran out of their homes and out of their neighborhoods, and it's going to be gentrified. If you are a supervisor or you work in corporate America or you're in a C-suite and you have this guy that comes in and he's interviewing for this position to ultimately be a face of the company. When you get into a certain level, you then become a representation of the company and you become the face, one of the faces of the company. And this guy walks into the door, right? And this is what he looks like. Because communication is more than just what you say. It's also what you look like, body language, everything. Attitude. Are you hiring him for this position? Are you hiring this guy to represent you as a key stakeholder in NVIDIA? To run General Motors? To oversee AT&T?
In Chicago, budget hearings continue this week, but the issue that's top of mind for many aldermen is the mayor's proposed $300 million property tax hike.
It is such a big issue that many city leaders are calling for a special meeting to reject the increase, making room for alternative solutions. Sabrina Franza has been speaking to aldermen ahead of this meeting on Wednesday. Sabrina?
Jim, they'll get that meeting. This move could force the mayor's hand before things get too close to the budget deadline on December 31st, before the budget becomes take it or leave it. Now, even some of the mayor's most loyal supporters have said they'd reject a property tax of this magnitude.
Would you be a yes or a no vote in that case?
If there's a quorum, yes, if there's a quorum, I will be voting. As I said, I think that I will be voting to make sure that property taxes are not.
I would hate to be the alderman over
Alderman
in
Byron
Chicago
Sigcho
right
Lopez.
now.
He's been against a property tax increase since it was proposed, though he did not sign this letter calling for a special meeting to reject the idea of a $300 million property tax hike altogether.
I don't believe in political theater. I always believe in not only making questions, but provide solutions.
So ordered.
One of those solutions, he says, to contribute less to the city's advanced pension fund. Meanwhile, in closed-door meetings, we're told Mayor Brandon Johnson, who ran his mayoral campaign promising not to raise property taxes, has been meeting with alders to figure out a solution.
That's a welcoming change. I think in previous administrations, all we have seen is impositions and dictating terms.
Some have felt differently during this year's first budget hearings.
A bunch of members were throwing out ideas, and all we kept getting back as answers were, well, here's why that wouldn't work.
They'll need 26 members to show up to proceed, but 34 votes to suspend the rules before the rejection can go to a vote.
Folks you would imagine don't really agree ideologically are in agreement on this.
The meeting starts.
I always wonder, right? Because, yeah, we criticize the mayor, and the mayor is an idiot, and we know that. So shout out to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. We know that the people have been electing mayors and idiot mayors in Chicago for a while now. But they trying to correct that on the streets, all right? But then we also have to take into consideration the aldermen. And are y'all electing the right people? Look, it's over for these community activists. It's over for identity politics. It's over for the ones that's been in there for a long time. Y'all have to elect business leaders. Y'all have to elect people with great moral compasses, and you'll have to elect people that are truly a reflection of the people's interests, okay? Not somebody that you want in there that looks like you, not somebody that's in there that, you know, I can identify with. No, somebody that identifies with your best interests. Those are the type of people. Y'all got to start making a business decision. Every relationship is a business decision first, okay? And then last but not least, let's talk about Elon Musk. His wealth has jumped over $70 billion since Trump has become the president-elect. Check it out. What's up, Rihanna?
Shares of Tesla have jumped nearly 40% since President Trump's electoral victory last week. As of yesterday's close, those gains have lifted Elon Musk's net worth by about $70 billion to close to $320 billion. That's according to Forbes. That puts him ahead of Larry Ellison, who is now the world's second richest person, by nearly $90. That's $90 billion. Elon Musk is ahead of him by about $90 billion. There was a Bloomberg report talking about how hedge funds betting against Elon Musk had lost about $5.2 billion in paper losses since the election last week. Anybody who was shorting the stock obviously has gotten hurt pretty badly. Right now, shares of Tesla at $340.28.
Ron Barron's chortling somewhere. But we're back to Brewster's Millions.
How do you spend it quick enough?
He just can never.
I think that Elon Musk is eventually going to buy one of these larger networks. I don't know which one it would be. It'll probably be an opposing network to Fox. So I would imagine it would be an MSNBC, a CNN, something like that. When you get this type of money, okay, on a much smaller level, on a much smaller scale. When I mean small, I mean on a minuscule level. I would never, ever compare myself to Elon Musk or anything. You start playing, right? Once you get to a certain point in life, on a smaller level, let's say a smaller city like the city that I'm in, when you no longer worry about money and finances, you start changing lives. You start shaping society the way that you want to see it. So on a very microscopic level in my life, right? I want to, and my passion project has always been housing. So for example, making sure that people have sustainable housing, that they have places to live and whatever. And so on a microscopic level, when I build my houses, I build them with people in mind that ultimately is going to be there. And so, that determines how much lower I can get the price as far as what they're going to rent it for, how they can raise their kids in a better environment and all of that. And so on a very, 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 very small level, that's how you think. You no longer worry about, can I pay my car note this month, or am I going to be able to pay my house note? When you remove all those barriers, you start shaping things. You start making sure that your daughter and your son can go to certain schools and they get certain education and it's not a sacrifice or whatever. So when you get to a, $300, $400, $500, $600 billion net worth, you look at things in society and you start saying, I don't like the way that that's going. I'm going to change it. And if you remember when he wound up buying Twitter, which is now X, he executed on the fact that he didn't like the fact that they were running the company the way that they was running it. And even when it wasn't financially advantageous for him to buy it, and it was like, hey man, this company is $10 billion over valuation and they trying to fight you in order to make you sure you buy. He just woke up one night. I was reading about it. He said he woke up one night and was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the deal. And now people are applauding him for changing the way in which social media is censoring people because we don't like censorship. And so I would say that a lot of these people need to tread very, very carefully. Very, very carefully. I remember when Elon Musk was pitching to Apple to buy Tesla. Now look at him. Crazy.
20 billion.
It's hard to even imagine.
That's why, what you do, you build a really nice house on Mars. I think. With a lot of land. You probably got.
I don't even think there's a house here.
You don't even need fences.
You're right, True American. Everybody that sold their Tesla stock over politics, and this is the thing that I was telling the people, because we went over a few industries that's booming. We went over a few industries inside of the stock club on the Patreon yesterday, and shout out to everybody that was in the Patreon that watched that live stream or rewatched that live stream. We got Block Club coming up next. And I was telling people, I said, listen, y'all, because some people was questioning some of the industries it's going to benefit. And I said, y'all have to remove your emotions to look at this objectively. I'm going to present you the information. You have to make a decision on what you're going to do with it. Now, it was a lot of people on, I'm selling my Tesla stock. I don't like it. Okay. All right. Profits over feelings. Profits over feelings. Okay, go ahead. You do what you got to do. I'm going to go ahead and get this money. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. Why is it doing that? All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to get it rocking, all right? Ashley says, good morning. I'm currently catching up on all of the stock videos. I've always wanted to learn. I appreciate you for explaining it the way that you do. Stay blessed. Ashley, congratulations. I'm telling you, we got the greatest group on the face of the earth, and we break it down and we explain it like a C student so that everybody can understand and we don't leave nobody behind. What up? Says, I appreciate you, Lena. I appreciate you for rocking out with us. Thank you, love. Frederico says, yo, last night on After Hours, thanks for bringing out Chocolate Jerry. Oh, my God. You mean on the Q show. Where the people's mayor at? P. Shank then says, good morning, AD. Did you read about the FEMA supervisor instructing the staff? Yeah, I read about that. I plan on covering that tomorrow or maybe the day after this week because I got a lot of stories I want to cover. The One True Whitney says, don't have much but wanted to support. One True Whitney, what's your cash app? One True Whitney, what's your cash app? Let me bless you. One True Whitney. One of the moderators, your car, I'm going to be paying attention to the chat. Somebody give me One True Whitney, because I can't see everything, because I'm looking at multiple different things at the same time. Once One True Whitney puts her Cash App inside of the chat, we gonna 100x what she just gave. All right? We gonna 100x what One True Whitney just gave to make sure that we support her. Because we love our people. I'm looking in the chat. I want to make sure that I get that. So One True Whitney, put your Cash App inside of the chat. And we gonna 100x her. All right? Somebody get One True Whitney's Cash App. One True Whitney, put your Cash App inside of the chat. Oh, there it is. All right. So let me see what I can do. Give me a second. We got to take our time. Give me a second. What did you put? 2? So we're going to give you 200 back. I know you said that was your last. And so I appreciate you. I just want to let you know that you got family over here that care about you. All right? There we go. All right, I got you. Firm. I love you. All right, so I sent it to you. Okay? All right, so I sent you 200. All right, Whit? We love you. We love you, baby. All right, so let me know. Listen, we got your back, One True Whitney. We got your back. We chasers over here. And so whenever I just feel compelled to bless somebody and it's on my heart, I don't think twice about it. I do it in the streets. I do it on the internet. When people send me stuff, I can't give it to everybody. I can't take care of every single person. But I got to make sure that my people is good. And so if you told me that you gave your last, and now everybody don't try to finesse me now, okay? You say me you gave your last or you ain't have much, then be blessed. Just be blessed. Take your blessings. I'm blessed. You blessed. We all going to be blessed together. Listen, if I could hire all of the bag chasers and pay them all $100,000 a year, I would. Real talk. All right, let's continue on with the show. Let's get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. I'm going to read Super Chats throughout the show. Everybody, speaking of being blessed, One True Whitney ain't the only one that's blessed. You know who else is blessed? All of your celebrities that y'all seen that was endorsing Kamala Harris. I hate this system. I hate what they had going on, but I love the fact that we as voters was able to see through, the BS and get straight to it. So when y'all thought, listen, if you voted for Kamala Harris because of a celebrity that told you to do it, then that means that you got finessed. They say that she's $20 million in debt after raising over $1 billion for her campaign. Check it out.
And the Harris campaign now in debt, $20 million. Lindy Lee, one member of the DNC's finance committee, says she and others were misled about the vice president's chance of winning the election. Lee says she helped raise millions for the campaign and now has to explain to donors why Harris lost. Just one example of their spending. The Harris campaign spent $450,000 a day. This was on ads displayed in Las Vegas. And now,
do y'all know how much money that is? Do you know how much money that is? $450,000 a day on ads in Las Vegas. The president of the United States of America don't even make but $500,000 a year, I believe. And it's funny because Trump never even took his salary. Trump never took a salary from being president. He donated his salary every single year. Let's do the math. She comes from a middle-class background. She loves her business owners and their lawns, was raised by her mother and her nana over there, and she ran a daycare that was between her and her sister. And they got to the point, man, listen, bro. I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed in all of the AKAs, the Divine Nine that donated, all of the people that donated to her campaign, and they spent $450,000. You know how many people got rich off of Kamala Harris? Do you know how many people got rich? You spent your money on something that you could have controlled when you just closed your legs. And you know how many people got rich off Kamala Harris? Let me show you.
Staff members and vendors are worried they may not get paid. News Nation's Kelly Meyer has been following this story and joins us live from the White House with the very latest. Kelly?
Yeah, the election may be over, but the mountain of debt from the short-lived campaign isn't going away fast enough for them. The Harris campaign trying to dig out of debt nearly a week after their resounding loss. And much of the spending was on digital media advertising, polling, and travel from state to state. According to the reports, the Harris campaign spending six figures building a set for Harris's appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast.
They spent six figures building a set to do a 1-hour podcast. If they're this frivolous with campaign funds, what do you think that they're going to do with taxpayer dollars? What do you think that they've been doing? Why do you think that they just hand out blank checks over to Ukraine? Why do you think they just give over military equipment that when they was pulling out of Afghanistan, that they just left all of those billions of dollars worth of military equipment? No business owner in their right mind operates like this and thinks this frivolously. No business owner. Nobody that looks at it from a business perspective. Nobody that knows anything about managing a minuscule budget would ever spend this type of money and be this irresponsible with people's monies.
With host.
Remember when on her website, let me go to her website. Let me see what this looked like. Remember on her website when the first thing that showed on her website wasn't policies? I can't wait to show you this website. Let's continue.
Alex Cooper, a source familiar with the campaign, confirming to News Nation the reporting that the Harris campaign was $20 million in the hole after November 5th. And even though the campaign took in at least $1 billion and reported $118 million in the bank as of October 16th, they're still seeing that $20 million in the hole. Another big ticket price, the $15 million the Harris campaign spent on event production.
These celebrities, they got paid. They got paid to wear their Harris Walls t-shirts. And so when she was walking up there, she was like, oh my God, I love you. Hey. Listen, let me show you something. When Oprah was looking at her like she was a fool, remember when we was doing the review videos and I was like, man, Oprah looking at her like she dumb as hell. All of this right here, let me show it to you. All this right here, that's all fake. That's all fake. That fake smile, that's all finesse. And when Oprah was looking at her and was like, this woman ain't got all of her marbles there together, and you never see her appear with Oprah again, that's because they was done with their payment.
Also went towards the celebrity performances leading up to the election, like that Election Eve rally with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Ricky Martin. And Harris also reportedly paid $1 million to Harpo Productions, that's owned by Oprah.
Jesus Christ. Now I'm wondering, did Charlamagne get paid? Did John Legend get paid? Was Ricky Smiley getting a check? How much did Roland Martin get paid? I will be absolutely transparent with you. I'll be 100% transparent with you. On my father's grave, I didn't get one dime, not one dime from any candidate, including the Trump campaign or a special interest group or a PAC. I've never gotten one dime. I've never accepted a dime from any campaign whatsoever. Everything that you see me say on this platform is 100% transparent, and I mean what I said, and I believe it in my heart, and that's why I went with it. How much are these people getting paid? That's what I'm wondering. How compromised are they? What's the cost of your soul?
Oprah, we know, did a town hall with Harris back in September and appeared with Harris at her election eve rally in Philadelphia. And one GOP strategist putting it to us this way today, saying, quote, damned if you do, damned if you don't, giving the example of John Kerry having been criticized for still having.
Somebody said, because I ain't big enough. Oh, I control Michigan. Oh, yes. Listen. I got more influence than a lot of these celebrities, obviously, because we doing 26 million views a month across all of my YouTube channels. Oh, yes, we are doing 26 million views, over 3 million hours of watch time. Don't you sit here and tell me no lies. Oh, yes, I do. And that ain't even considering what I do on Fox News or none of that type of stuff. We control Michigan. We won Michigan. That's a fact. We probably won a bunch of other states too while we at it. But and listen, don't think I wasn't offered. Shout out to the Democrats. You can't buy loyalty, man. You can't, but you don't think that I was offered to shut up and not say nothing? Nah. No, come on, man. Stop.
14 million unspent after his 2004 campaign. The strategist, though, called Harris's debt, quote, egregious, and that they were panic spending in the very end. Kelly.
So, Kelly, how is the campaign trying to make up these losses now?
Well, we know that they are still fundraising despite the loss, sending out these emails you could see asking to donate to the Harris Fight Fund program. What's interesting to point out is that the donations to the Harris presidential campaign are being partially redirected toward a vote recount effort. So when you click donate, that link takes you to the Act Blue website. And the fine print suggests that the vice president's campaign might be launching a recount effort allocated to the Harris for President's recount account is where the money would go. And Donald Trump, we know, won the election with 312 electoral college votes, including.
So this is how they finessing y'all. So if you go to the Kamala Harris website right now, all right? If we go to the Kamala Harris website right now, you will see the fight continues. So now they're saying, well, listen, the fight is continuing with a handful of key Senate and House races still too close to call. The House has been called. The Senate has been called. The presidency has been called. We are keeping our organizers and volunteers on the ground in those states to see the election, across the finish line. If you are able to donate to the Harris Fight Fund today to ensure we have the resources to elect Democrats down the ticket, ready to hold the Trump administration accountable. Well, guess what? You can still donate over $1,000 or other. You can donate whatever it is that you want to donate. Is Tim Walz even still on the website? Let me see something. Hey, where Tim Walz's picture at? Hey, put Tim back up there. Where Tim at? Oh, well. I guess Tim is out of there, huh? But you don't see no policies. You don't see nothing. You don't see no remnants of anything that had to do with anything. But you can still donate. You can still hit the donation button and you can donate to the support to the Harris Fight Fund. Well, what they're not telling you is that they still raising money. They still raising money in order to cover that $20 million hole. So they finessing y'all. What they doing is they saying, all right, look, y'all, how we gonna rebrand to cover this $20 million hole that we still in? Okay, well, we gonna rebrand it. We gonna name it the Harris Fight Fund. So we know that they won the Senate, they won the House, they won the presidency. They have unprecedented power to actually pass through legislation and change the American people's lives. But we gonna continue to keep the Harris Fight Fund together because we gotta cover this $20 million hole that they use to pay Oprah and Beyonce and Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla and John Bon Jovi and all of these other people. And they basically used y'all money. Y'all are lighter in the pockets. You don't even know how you're going to get to work tomorrow. You still got to pay your mortgage. And Beyonce and Oprah went off back to Hawaii and California to their $250 million mansions to spend your money. Blue Ivy just ordered her a new Cybertruck. I hope y'all feel dumb. I hope y'all feel so dumb. Look, I tried to quick away. I tried to close out. This is almost like spam. I tried to close out my browser and it says, wait, please don't click away. We've fallen short of our critical fundraising goal and our team is counting on your contribution. Every gift makes a difference. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me put some gifts in it. I want to put $1. Make it monthly? Oh, no. Nope. -$1. Can I put -$1? -1. Oh, I could put -1. So can I get some money out of this or what? This is crazy. The Harris Victory Fund. This is just like Umar Johnson's. They don't even call it the Harris Walls Fight Fund. They just call it the Harris Fight Fund. This is like hit the Cash App for Umar Johnson. This is sad. This is absolutely sad. Y'all spent over $1 billion, got washed in every state, lost every single race, don't control nothing no more, pointing the finger at each other, and y'all won't even let me close out the website before giving $1 or $25. No. And y'all should feel so stupid, so dumb. Because now all of these celebrities, they took y'all money, they bought new Bentleys and Rolls Royces. You're gonna see a whole, y'all paid for these celebrities to get richer than they already have. And they lied to y'all. I would feel so dumb. I would feel incredibly stupid. Took y'all money, got paid, and lost. Trini Life says, bless up, Anton. Did you see the new BYD China cars that can drive sideways like how the Batmobiles does? And it also floats on water. And guess what? Nobody cares about that. Nobody is going to buy the car because it drives sideways. I'm going to just tell you honest to God. Jeremy H says, rumor has it Elon offered Disney $50 billion, but they're trying to sell it to Apple. By the way, Boeing machinists also got a 3% raise. I heard about that. I don't know about the Disney part, but I heard about the Boeing machinists. Led Zeppelin says, or Zed Leplin says, Tesla is in a gamma squeeze. I closed at 1,235% up. Shout out to you. Run that bag up. Make sure y'all look at the latest stock club inside of the Patreon. Trump is going to pressure the Fed, the Federal Reserve, banks will fail, and watch how all of the meme stocks were mocked explode to infinite stock prices. I don't know about that. KAS says, new bag chaser here, been following for a while, looking to level up and get to it. Also very happy about Trump and his cabinet picks so far. Yeah, we're going to go over some of them new cabinet picks. BT, one of one, says, I'm officially a chaser now. It's time to run up a bag. I appreciate you, AD, for all that you do. God bless you, bro. God bless you, too. High Tolerance says, salute AD and the Bag Chasers. Brought moms out here to Vegas, and the reprobates remain steadfast to the cause. On another note, I believe some will turn the corner in these next 4 years, do good, and run it up. We're going to get to that bag. Vic Robinson says, I don't got Cash App, but I wanted to bring into the blessing. Thank you, Vic, for holding it down for what we doing. Eric Wolf says, Scripture says it's him that gave more, gave the most. But it's him that gave his last, that gave the most. God bless AD. That's a good man, Savannah. That's a good man, Savannah. Ryan Smith says, understanding is a rock on which man builds himself. Continue to enlighten the people, brother. It doesn't go unnoticed. Soon a major change is coming to the original MSTA in the future. Peace and love. Peace and love to you too. Shout out to Secret Truth says, late for class, but paying my late fee. Shout out to you. Chance Talk Business says, can't manage the campaign fund. She wasn't going to fix the economy. Agreed. Sean S. goes in and says, once I heard about her spending, I commented on someone on his channel. Oh, man, Anton Daniels is going to get her. You know, dog, I feel sorry for these celebrities. And she's the person they wanted to trust to handle the economy? Never. 904 Don says, just got that Patreon, Anton. I will not be left behind. This administration, I'm ready to boss my life up. Chasers, we up. Now she better thank her credit union member. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lot. Bless says, Kamala's team, the type to do to chase money. KDX says, no wonder D.L. Hughley was going so hard for her. Yeah, he got paid. I believe he got paid. Anybody that interviewed D.L. Hughley, ask him, did he get paid by Kamala Harris at all? A bird's eye view says, what up, Anton? This was my first time voting, and Trump was it clearly. And once I figured the money, I definitely became a chaser. Shout out to the new chasers. Eric Wells says you got to be an idiot to them to owe them more money. Aaron L says she about to go back to McDonald's to flip some burgers. No, I think that Kamala is rich. They selling fish dinners to recoup that money. Yep. Rather donate here than the cam. Shout out to you. Ashley Patterson says all that twerking was done. That was done. Got her nothing but debt. Yet we supposed to trust her with the country. Now the bald head cat ladies need to come together and help her to recoup the funds and get them AKAs in there. Jerica Amari, oh, you so cute. I'm a Delta, and seeing D9 rally behind Kamala and supported of her campaign annoyed me because not all D9s support her, and I didn't. And no, I didn't. Trump, give me a round of applause for Miss Amari. I like that. Good morning, Anton. Last night was my first live stock club, and it was so informative. I was the one. I know you was the one with all of the questions. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving so much of yourself. I appreciate you. Yeah, we got another one. We got block clubs. So anybody that's in the Patreon, go and watch the last block club that we did, and we're gonna leapfrog off of that to continue to give y'all information on how y'all can run up the bag in real estate. Our new website is Pyramid Work. Oh man, Roland Martin got $350,000 from the Harris campaign. I bet you he got more than that. The first lady of the DNC rap group, Moneybag Mala, man, she killed it on y'all. Kamala better call Nate. Look like she in a bind. Ms. Moore, shout out to Ms. Moore, says, hey, D, unfortunately, I'm a registered Democrat and voted for Trump. I received a few of those emails last week. I really thought it was a scam. Of course I didn't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Wizzy, what up to Wizzy? I appreciate you. Aaron L says, all that twerking from Meg Thee Stallion and now she broke. Should have went to the strip club and had a better time. La Black Duck 2001 says, damn, just consider what the community could have done with the cash wasted on Kamala and Black Lives Matter. Shaking my head. And did Ms. Rita let you know that she was Satsuma? I have no idea what that means, but thank you, Lil Black Duck. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The likes is a little low. The subscriptions is a little lower. We need to make sure that we get that like up. Let's get the likes up, all right? Let's run it up. So Trump is now looking to end a controversial migrant program. But before we talk about the migrant program, let's look at the questions that people are starting to ask themselves. And it's no reason for y'all to ask yourselves. Everything will be revealed in time. But these are the questions that people are asking themselves, considering what is going on and everybody confused about upcoming immigration and deportation.
On the horizon of a second Trump administration and mass deportation threats, immigration attorneys are advising people on any pending immigration issues, such as visas and citizenship appointments. ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo spoke with an attorney who shares the questions he's been getting regarding immigration.
Shout out to Milk.
Well,
I like
a lot
that
of the focus is directly on the border, on things like asylum seekers or those who cross the border illegally. A local immigration attorney says he's also getting a lot of questions about other types of cases, with people expressing confusion and anxiety. With just 70 days until Donald Trump's inauguration, doubt as to what his second presidency could mean for immigrants in the country.
We're getting a lot of calls. People are wondering what they should do, what's going to change.
Jacob Sapochnik is a San Diego-based immigration attorney who says since Election Day, his office has been fielding questions about what's next.
I wonder what's going to happen in January. What's going to happen if you're undocumented? What's going to happen if you're about to apply for a visa?
The link to the Patreon is in the description of the video. It's also pinned to the top of the chat. Also, the link to get your tickets to come and kick it with me in Detroit, December 14th. That's also in the description of the video.
So a lot of confusion, definitely a lot of anxiety among people.
Sapochnik doesn't see Trump's promises of mass deportations becoming a reality, saying the financial and labor implications would be too grave. He does foresee more enforcement of those who are undocumented, but even then,
you can only deport immediately expedited people coming to the border. But if somebody's been living in the United States all these years, you can't just deport them.
He does think the court's backlogs will continue. He says people with visas are asking him when to renew.
If I'm going to go back home in April or May or June of next year, are the embassies going to be open? Is he going to put travel bans if I'm from Iran or Syria or from any other country? Should I go now and get my visa stamps?
And companies who sponsor employees are asking what to do about work visas.
Should I hire this person now? Will they be able to come back to the U.S.? Is it even worth it to do the green card?
Sapochnik says if you can file, do so now before the lines and wait times get even longer. If you need to renew your visas, do it before January 20th. But ultimately says nothing is certain until the former president is sworn in once again.
Listen, it's a lot of people that's feeling entitled to be here. A lot of people are feeling entitled to be here. A lot of them. 100%. And so y'all got to be careful about who it is that y'all supporting and what causes that y'all are supporting, because people are now feeling entitled to be in the United States of America. They believe that they deserve to be here. Oh man, I came over here. I crossed the Euphrates River to eventually end up in the United States of America. And they believe in their heart that they're supposed to be here. And so now they're trying to hold us accountable, hold the United States of America accountable for allowing them to be here for as long as they have. But Trump is now starting to end these controversial migrant programs that's making it difficult to figure out where you belong, whether or not you're supposed to be here or not. Check it out.
Welcome back. President-elect Trump turning his allies in Congress to help fill out his administration. Trump tapping Florida Congressman Michael Waltz to be his national security advisor. Congressman Waltz joined this program and spoke with me yesterday. Right here, watch. The most important foreign policy decision Trump needs to make when he gets in office is what? I know there are a lot.
Well, I think first and foremost, it'll be underscored by America's biggest strength, which is our energy independence and energy security.
Okay.
Not only will that light our economy on fire, but that gives us leverage over every one of these.
Trump is also selecting former New York Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin to be his head of Environmental Protection Agency, and New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis. She's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee and is the Republican Conference Assistant Whip. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. A couple of New Yorkers here being tapped in this incoming administration. What do you make of these selections?
I think they're great selections. I've been very pleased with every appointment I've heard from President Trump so far. For New York, this is big. I've served with both Lee Stefanik and Lee Zeldin. They are very qualified. They are people who are admired within our conference. And I will say that they will represent the president and the nation well, and I think they will go on to do great things. And this coupled with
Have
Claudia
y'all noticed
Tenney
that Trump has now appointed more women into his cabinet than men? I've only seen 3 or 4 men appointed, which includes Tom Homan, Mark Rubio, but I see Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., and somebody else. I'm missing somebody. I've seen more women appointed. The first appointee that he had was his chief of staff. That was a woman. Tulsi Gabbard, she's a woman. The UN Security Council, that's a woman. I've seen him appoint more women into his cabinet before I've actually seen him appoint men. So I guess we can throw the whole misogynistic thing out the window. No?
I serving on the House Ways and Means Committee, where a good chunk of the president's agenda will pass through as it relates to tax, trade, tariffs. New Yorkers have a real seat at the table, and we're really excited and ready to get to work.
Oh, that's a great point. Truly, you're right in terms of House Ways and Means. Look, the race is now on for House Republican Conference Chair, now that Elise Stefanik is becoming ambassador to the UN. Congresswomen Lisa McClain, Kat Kamak, Aaron Houchin throwing their hats in the ring. Republicans are just 4 seats away from clinching the House majority, which could become even slimmer once the new Congress begins, as both Waltz and Stefanik vacate their seats. Are you worried about this? Both seats are expected to remain Republican, but those vacancies could impact the GOP's ability to pass government funding bills. So, Congresswoman, how do you see this? The fact that you lose these two in the House when you're trying to clinch the majority here?
Well, look, I think we'll end up with a majority of 4. So if there's any more appointed from the House, I guess I'd be a little worried. But I think that we're as close as we can be right now in terms of being united. And I think that this election has really brought Republicans together. We are excited. We are energized. We are ready to make this country affordable again and prosperous. We are ready to expand and extend a lot of the tax cut provisions that benefited the working class, the middle class. It was across-the-board cut, as you know, under President Trump with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, doubled the family tax credit. He put in place a tremendous trade deal with Mexico.
Carla, why you say misogyny still exists? Why do you say that, Carla? Carla, why do you say that? Carla, I want to hear what you got to say about that. You don't have to be on camera or anything like that, but I would love for you to be able to call in if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But Carla, help me to understand why you would say something like that. This is for Carla. I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'm going to pivot for you. I got a little bit of time. Do not hit this link if you are not Carla R. Carla R, that is for you, okay? That is for you. That link in the chat is for you. I would love to know why you think that misogyny still exists or what your mindset is behind that. Help me to understand, Carla. I'm going to leave that in there for you.
In Canada, we're excited to secure the border to finally end this chaos that was created by the Biden-Harris administration with an executive order, 60 executive orders. He will undo it. We have confidence in that, and we will end the mass illegal migration in New York City and the energy policy that is so critical to everything from our national security to inflation.
I'm not going to go off or nothing like that. I just want to hear your thoughts. You know, I always meet people with the energy that they give me.
The cost of food, as you know, obviously manufacturing, producing, transporting, refrigerating, everything requires energy, and we need to be energy dominant again. And President Trump will ensure that. And with Lee Zeldin at the helm at the EPA, reducing unnecessary regulations that have just been burdensome and costly to businesses. So I'm excited for the future. I think this is an agenda that unites Republicans. So even if we're, just have a majority of 2 for a short period, I think we will stick together, be united, and get work done.
Well, you certainly have to have the majority. It's going to be critical for both tax policy and the potential for the Congressional Review Act to unwind some of these Biden regulations, right? That's going to be important. Look, New York City is putting an end to the pilot program that gave some migrants up to $350 a week for food through taxpayer-funded credit cards. This decision coming after President-elect Trump spoke with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Adams said this: as we move toward more competitive contracting for asylum seeker programs, we've chosen not to renew the emergency contract. Since March, the city has reportedly handed out at least $3.2 million in food aid cards to nearly 2,600 migrant families. Congressman, are you sure they only use this card?
Carla, can you hear me? You got to unmute yourself, Carla. Carla, you got to unmute yourself, baby. Carla, you got to unmute yourself, baby girl. Carla.
Hello?
Hey, Carla, what's up, baby?
Hey, you said, why does misogyny still exist?
Why did you say, what made you say that? What are your
Well,
thoughts behind it?
I think you kind of
Well, first of all,
implied that.
Carla, good morning, and I hope you're having a phenomenal morning. What happened to Carla? Carla, call back in. I want to get your thoughts. You made a mistake. Hit the button. Okay, got you.
Okay, my bad.
All right, Carla, good morning. I just want to say good morning. I hope you're having a phenomenal morning before we head.
Good morning. I'm usually a part of the chat. I love the chat family and the show, even though I always say I don't always agree with everything.
That's cool. I'm with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So go ahead. Give me some insight on why you said misogyny still exists.
Okay. Now, I watch almost everything you do. I watched the debate on the Highly Initiative show, all of that.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like you, I don't know. I feel like your main point was more so about Trump and your own opinion that you didn't want a woman to lead you. And I think a lot of the chat agreed, that they rather not have a woman to rule over them or, be the leader of this country. And I can see that point, but it still, to me, falls under misogyny more so than racism.
Why is that? Why
And
is that
I think,
misogynistic?
because I'm like, it's still undermining, in my opinion, to women,
How was it any different if I was to say I would never choose a child to lead me? Is that discriminatory amongst children?
No, because I think overall, though, that children are basically known to be, not have the full understanding.
And how is it any different for women?
Well, in some cases it's not. I ain't gonna lie.
So why is it misogynistic? So why is it misogynistic? If I'm making a smart business decision,
just because I can see a point, though.
If I'm making a smart business decision,
and y'all funny in the chat. I see how people
don't worry
feel.
about the chat. This is me and you. This is me and you kicking it, Carla. But if I'm
I have been drinking. I put some Baileys in my coffee this morning. Then he gonna put me on the spot. So, yeah. So then he puts me on the spot.
But listen, Carla, if I'm making a smart business decision based off of what makes the most sense and what aligns with my spiritual values, why is it misogynistic for me to then say that I would never voluntarily choose for a woman to lead me? Even when it comes to relationships, right? I don't want a woman to lead me. I need to be in a position to make sure that everybody around me is in a position to benefit, right? So I don't think that that's misogynistic. I think that that's masculine.
I hear you, but I mean, and just because I can see a point does not mean I agree with a point, right?
No, that's okay. I'm just trying to understand you.
So I can see, and that's why I come to the channel. I sometimes have a different point of view and I voice it. I think one time even somebody tried to block me in the chat. I'm like, I'm here all the time, so don't even try it, okay?
No, I try. I tell my moderators to
they was like, block her, but
No, we love you, Carla. We love you. So you
Anyway,
would think that my perspective
just because I
towards
can see your point and perspective does not mean I don't agree.
so
Now
do
I
you
do.
still do you
Where
still think that
Kamala
it's
messed up for me, and I agree with everybody here, is the twerking and the shaking and the lineup. It didn't work. It just didn't work. So
do you still stand on that you still think it's misogynistic?
to some degree, I still do. Yeah, I
And
still do.
why? Tell me why.
I mean, I think that had a play in the election results. Not necessarily that I wanted Kamala. I think I actually did not like either candidate,
Hmm.
but I think it did have some effect.
I don't think that people look at Tulsi Gabbard, for example, in the same vein that they look at Kamala Harris.
Okay, I can see that. But then my other point about it too, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time. But
Hmm.
my other point about it is that I don't know, like I said, most people in the chat stood on the fact that they did not want a woman to lead them.
Hmm.
And I think we even had a poll on highly initiated to somewhat of that point. And when they did the poll came out that was a slightly higher indicator of how people voted or how people saw the election.
I think that they have a larger female audience, and I think that female audience, a lot of the women that's in that audience, they need some correction in their life. They need they got some things that they need to fix within themselves. I think that there's a larger segment of women that actually hates men. And so anything that a man says that's masculine that then goes against the nature of what they've conditioned themselves to believe upsets them. But I don't think that it's anything wrong with being masculine, and there's nothing toxic about being masculine. I think that that's inherently what most women want. They want a masculine man to lead their family. They want a masculine man to govern over their children. And I think that it's good. Like it's similar to me wanting a feminine woman. I don't want a woman, in around me or in my household that act like me. I would like for her to be inherently her. And it doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
that I don't value what you bring to the table. It doesn't mean that I don't take your advice. It doesn't mean that you're not smart. But what it does is it means that you have greater value to me with being who God ordained you to be, and you have unique skills that only you can have that a man will never have. And I don't want what you got. You know what I'm saying? And neither
I
should
hear
you.
you.
You shouldn't want what we
I hear
have.
you.
And I think that women have gotten so out of place, and men to that point also have become so feminine that we kind of crossing
And I was
frequencies.
about to say something about that too, and I do agree with that point. See, I don't know. My kids say that I should have been a judge because I can argue any point you give me now. I'm a
Mm.
really middle person, really.
Hmm.
However, yeah, I do agree with that point. That what were you just saying at the end?
No, I was just saying that we crossing frequencies.
Yeah, it is a lot of
Um,
feminine men out here and a feminine agenda, and
it is. It is.
sometimes we don't always see the best example of manhood, or masculinity in the environment. So I do
Yep.
agree with that,
So yeah, we on
but
we on the same page, Carla. I
my
appreciate you for
thing is
calling
like,
in.
I do. That's why I said I'm here. I mostly agree. However, I still think it's a tinge of it in there,
I'm gonna get you over to.
and
I'm gonna get you all
racism.
the way
We're not
100%,
going to
Carla.
ignore January 6th. I think nobody acknowledges that. And I think to me that was somewhat racial driven, especially the results and the way that it was handled.
Hmm.
So I always generally say that sometime in the chat, January 6th, and the Trump supporters have never stepped up and really addressed that day.
Who did
So
you vote for, Carla?
I got to the poll and I end up voting for Kamala.
Okay, why did you vote for
I was very torn. I watched the show. I take some points,
her?
that the show talks about. However, I was like, I don't know. I was torn. I was just torn.
So what made you vote? Where you from?
I am from DC,
Oh yeah,
Maryland area,
DC
DMV.
is blue.
And
Yep.
see, it's a lot of effect because, in this area we got a high federal government workers. Um, they talk about me in the comments. See, I see how
You
people
so
feel now.
busy
I'm
paying
trying not to
attention
look
to the
at the thing.
comments, ignoring the comments.
Right,
You paying
exactly. I
attention
see
to the
how they feel
comments.
up there. Shout out to
I'm not
Trigger.
even
Shout
looking at
out
the
to
comments. I'm paying attention to
my
you.
girl. Huh?
I'm not even looking in the comments. I'm paying attention to you.
Okay, well I'm sorry. I got distracted because I started looking at it. But I don't know. We're here now, and I feel like in the DC area, especially, one, we're very blue. Two, it's a large federal government population in this area, and they're the main, employer, as most people know. So it's like, yeah, I understand people voted for Trump. I get that he's probably a good leader as far as business goes, not necessarily tact, I'm gonna say, right? But he's a good businessman. And I was a regular person at watching The Apprentice. I love the show. So yeah, that's his lane right there.
But Carla,
And
I
we
appreciate
we
you.
we gonna deal with what we got.
I appreciate you, Carla. Thank you for calling
And
in and
one
having.
shout out to Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to the Bag Chasers. Shout
Yeah,
out to the chat.
yeah,
The panels, man.
yeah,
Q, girl,
yeah.
bless you for working with these panels, girl. And yes, I'm not gonna drink Bailey's next time Anton puts me on the spot. All right, bye.
Thank you, Carla. I'll see you, baby. All right, so that was Carla. We got to give Carla a round of applause. We don't live in an echo chamber over here on the Millionaire Morning Show. And we always want to get different perspectives. And so we respect everybody's opinion, even if it's different from ours. And I meet people with the same energy that they give me. And so we can have a good conversation and we can walk away both disagreeing and agreeing on some points. That's what diplomacy is. That's what having a conversation does. And so God bless her. Shout out to my girl Carla in the chat. Y'all better show Carla some love in the chat for at least even jumping up here and having a conversation with me. That deserves some level of acknowledgement. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to go over to the next part of the show. Lisa says, good morning, proud Republican here. Shout out to Lisa. I love you. Myra says, good morning, Anton. I need to get in the stock club and learn and build a profitable portfolio. Well, you definitely in the right place. Go and watch the last stock club. It's very informative. It's absolutely awesome. You need to tap into that. New to this and working to be in a position for Trump's economy. How do I join? The link is pinned to the top of the chat, or it's in the description of the video for the Patreon. It is absolutely awesome. Just click the most recent video, and then you can jump into the Discord, which is in the link of the most recent video inside of the Patreon. All right? It's dope. You're going to love it. Victor Williams says, Eric D. strolled to the poll with Ty. Take it. Queen Mama in office. While snatching dreams in the booth, yelling, yes, honey. Shout out to my girl, Imari. Says, feeling anxiety about being deported, but not about entering the country illegally is crazy. Darshawn Hill says, I'll make it so you can get approved for your visa or asylum if you're currently in the country, or you have to go wait in Mexico until it's approved. Oh, man, I don't know what he's talking about. Country Boy Finesse is in the building, says, just got on the Patreon, took a chance on getting educated. So far, I've learned a lot. Got a goal to become successful. Shout out to the bag chasers that's getting to that money. You know we got the best Patreon and the biggest and the best Patreon on Patreon. Patreon called Time Dog and said, we appreciate you. We appreciate you for using our platforms. Oh, dog, hold on. We almost at 12,000 bag chasers. I thought we was only at 10. We almost at 12. We almost at 12K chasers, all right? Almost at 12K chasers. Hold on. Why that ain't showing? I don't feel like it. We almost at 12K chasers, all right? We created a whole community of great people to run up a bag with. We almost at 12,000 chasers. Shout out to the Patreon members. We love you. Let me give a shout out to the chasers, all right? We almost had 12,000 chasers. Jeweled Alchemy Soap Company says, apologies. I hit you up from the wrong account. We asked last week if Ms. Rita likes a scent. Oh, okay. I got you. I'll call her and find out. Rita's out meeting with the blinds people in order to make sure that we get these blinds on these properties. Jay Sanchez says, people who says misogyny still exists. Let me fix this real quick. People who say misogyny still exists are ridiculous. Just an active duty black woman. I have been given so many opportunities, not by my own people, but by white men. This narrative needs to stop. Ooh. Yeah. All right. I like that. Let's get a few more in here. Jay Sanchez also says, it's not about having a woman lead. It's about what kind of woman Kamala wasn't it. I like that. Delta Fox says, how did you blow past the $1 billion, Kamala? BZE says, men need to start using the word misandry more to even out. Nah, I ain't about to be battling with these people. I said what I said. Makes no sense to waste resources. Detaining, says Advanced Perception, detaining and prosecuting migrants just to send them back. Just send them back. Also, wall won't stop the immigrants that come by plane. Yeah, we putting in all of those programs. I am Mr. H says women were already being conditioned to believe that if men do not agree with them, then it's because they are misogynistic. Fine, indoctrination. We got to educate them. We bringing them over. Shout out to Miss Crow T. Shetty. I appreciate you. Ken J goes on to say, Carla, sing it for me one more time. No. Vic, shout out to my dog Vic, says day drinking, mentioning January 6th, misogyny, racism, etc. Equal opinion rejected. Cam drinking buddy. Oh, y'all got to cut Carla some slack. We love her. I want Carla to sing Next Lifetime. Oh my God. Rashawn, January 6th was an inside job. Someone sent me the video. It's bad. Love, Dayton, Los Angeles. My dog says masculinity and femininity are harmony. Feminism hate masculinity and made up the word misogyny, warning guys effeminate men shall not enter the kingdom. A.R. Smitty says, same energy? You was too drunk. You was drunk too, Don Dog. Ash, shout out to Ash. Misogyny definition is hatred or mistrust, contempt for, or prejudice against women or girls, which we have none of. Men not approving of women leading or having leadership over men in general sense is not misogyny, it's biblical, of natural and biological order for sustainable civilization. Shout out to my dog Ash. I love you, bro, and thank you for holding me down. Beat It Up Kool-Aid says, after seeing CGA and Officer Tatum shout you out, I had to come check you out. Oh, shout out to my dog CGA and Officer Tatum. I love them both. Those are my brothers. Brian Scherer says, I was actually paid to bring them into the country. Oh, my God. Let me continue on with the show. Y'all crazy. I'm going to continue to read Super Chats throughout the show. Thank y'all for holding me down. I want to help y'all to understand who this person is that's going to be taking over as the border czar. We've heard a lot about Tom Homan over the last couple of days, but I've actually done review videos on him on this channel before. And so he has gotten into plenty of battles, including those with AOC. Now, we know that AOC is an illegal migrant apologist. That's what I like to call her. She's an illegal migrant apologist, meaning that she's always on the side of wrong when it comes to legally enforcing the laws that's on the books here in the United States of America. And so I want to give you a small sample of how good this guy is because he don't take no shh from nobody. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. This is Tom Homan, Trump's new appointed border czar. You know the role that Kamala Harris had? And him going backwards. This is back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm sorry, not 2019. It's got to be like 2021, 22. Let me deep dive into it.
I believe.
So this was, I can't see that. Hold on, let me see something. 2019, all right?
I believe that everyone is operating in good faith. And
now remember, this is around the time that Trump was receiving so much backlash. I want to set the stage for y'all. He was receiving a ton of backlash, and he could not get Congress to buy in or Democrats across the board to help him with extra funding to build a border wall and to give more resources to people that are at the border, patrolling our border, border patrol, ICE agents to ultimately help deport and secure what he was already enforcing on the books as far as federal law. And so Trump was preventing people from coming into this country, but he didn't have the support of our legislative branches to continue the fight and to ultimately make sure that people were getting in here legally. And so Tom Homan was testifying as a part of Trump's administration on the whole child separation policy. All right?
Just want us to be very careful with that.
Which
With
Obama
that,
was the first one to catch flack for, by the way.
Cortez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Earlier, my colleague from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, asked the panel how many people here believe that child separation is an effective policy in deterrence. And no one on the panel raised their hand. I just wanted to note that for the record, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask a question from Professor Mukherjee. Is the United States violating or violated human rights agreements set by the United Nations in a family separation policy?
Yes. International law is clear that family unity should be prioritized.
So we, as members of the United Nations, signed on into an international human rights agreement saying very clearly that family separation is a violation of international human rights, and then we pursued a policy that violates human rights. You know, Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms? And, you know, it dated back, family separation in the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further. And our staff dug further. But where did this start within the administration? She implemented it. And we found a memo. It dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the...
So let's summarize this for a second, all right, for the sake of conversation. Because I want to bring this back down to a C students level, and I know a lot of time they throw a lot of word salad in there in order to confuse you, but the reality of it is they're saying that the United Nations condemns separation of family, even if you are doing something illegally. And so what the recommendation is if you as a parent intentionally bring children over here who we don't even know if they're your children or not, but we just gonna have to assume because nobody does DNA testing at the border. But if you come over here and you come over here illegally, intentionally, and then you bring your children with you also to make sure that you are not then deported and separated from family, and so you're using them as a bargaining piece in order to break the law to come over here in the United States of America, that we should be governed by the United Nations and not what's best for our country. Let me say that again for the people in the back. If you come over here into this country illegally, intentionally, knowing that you are crossing over into this border illegally, that we should then honor and make sure that we take care of you instead of making sure that you get the hell up out of here because you're not supposed to be here in the first place. And you're using children as a bargaining chip because you know that these legislators over in the United States of America, including these liberal ones, are very, very weak on making sure that people uphold and abide by the law that we have on the books, so that United Nations recommendations supersede what United States of America law is. That's crazy. But let's continue.
Congressional record.
What is the date of that?
It is the memorandum for the Secretary from Homeland Security.
Date.
April 23rd, 2018, subject increasing prosecutions of immigration violations.
Without objection.
And so I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin McAleenan, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you.
Give him.
I'd be happy to provide
He's
it.
so chill.
And we'll provide it over. But I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommend a zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect.
Hey, listen, he said, listen, if I got to arrest somebody for a DUI, I'm going to separate them from the kid. Breaking the law is breaking the law. Under no circumstances do we negotiate with terrorists. We do what's in the best interest of the people of the United States of the Americas. Breaking the law is no excuse. And I know, listen, I see you ladies. I see the ladies in the chat. They said, oh my God, it's the children. They are the ones that I am so emotionally attached to. That's the one thing that breaks my heart. I understand. This is why you have to have men in a position to make a decision on what's best for the United States of America, because those very same people is going to grow up and they're going to hate you and they're going to ruin this country and they're going to hold a grudge against you. And they're not going to do the thing that's in the best interest of the American people. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to the record for review. Inspector General Costello, one last thing.
You can't
Is there a
break the law.
record, based on reports throughout the year and in our hearing earlier this year, we spoke with Ms. Juarez, a mother who lost her child due to inhumane conditions in the facilities. We learned that there is no...
No. She didn't lose her child due to inhumane conditions with the facilities. She lost her child because she tried to cross over here illegally and she got detained in a facility that then could not accommodate what you tried to do that you wasn't supposed to do in the first place. And that's how you see, they can finesse the words, but you can't fix stupid. And y'all elected this woman to be one of y'all legislators, and she is the one that is participating as one of the, I forgot what the name of their little group was. Some of them got eliminated out of that group. People
accurate record and no policy being held of people who are pregnant and people who endure miscarriages.
So, translation, people are coming into this country, all right? And I want y'all to understand this and hear me clearly. People are coming into this country and they are coming over here pregnant on purpose. This is a strategy that has long been deployed by the Chinese, right? And Chinese women tend to get away with this a little bit more because Chinese women tend to be a little thinner intentionally because that's their cultural norms. Chinese women tend to be a little bit thinner or a lot thinner than what we're used to over here in American culture. And so what happens is it is a norm. This is a thing that is happening behind the scenes and underground. And that Asian women often at times when they get pregnant, they take a trip over to the United States of America and then they have their children here. And what happens is that child now has dual citizenship in both the United States of America and whatever Asian country, including China, that they are from. And so they are leveraging this system to then say, well, you can't deport me or you can't get rid of me because me and my child was born here or my child was born here. And so by default, I'm supposed to be here in the United States of America. And so people are getting pregnant over in Mexico, Cubans, Venezuelans, Haitians. All of these people are taking the exact same playbook from China and they are coming over here to the United States of America pregnant to have their children to then give them a better chance to be able to stay in the United States of America because they know that liberals and Democrats don't uphold the law and they then let their emotions govern them instead of making sure that people do what they're supposed to do. That is what is happening. These people are coming over here with children. They're coming over here pregnant in order to get a leg up on these other people that's just crossing over to the border illegally, and then they're doing it under the guise of seeking asylum. And Tom Homan is not having that.
Is there a record of who enters and leaves these facilities?
I'm not familiar with the instance you're talking about, but I do believe the facilities keep custody logs and logs, but I'm not familiar with the incident you're talking about.
And where would we find those records?
I believe all the facilities keep them on site, CBP and I.
So, ladies in the chat, and this is why I like Tom Homan because he's standing on business. Ladies in the chat, understand this, that they are playing on your emotions when they then say, well, we don't necessarily want to separate children. And that's why it's become such a big deal, because they're basically playing on voters and your emotions to ultimately determine whether or not these people are supposed to be here or they're not supposed to be here in the United States of America. Air conditioning system. We need to make sure that I don't like the extra noises that's coming from it. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show. Lord Tark says, have you heard from Michaela Montgomery? Yes, I have. I talk to her pretty much every other day. She had a huge impact for the Trump campaign. She deserves a huge support and recognition. I hope more black women follow her lead. Yes, I talk to Michaela all the time. She just hit me up yesterday. I actually talked to her over the weekend and then I talked to her yesterday. And I was giving her a little bit of insight on some stuff that she had some questions on. Shout out to my girl, Michaela. I love her. Let me give her a round of applause. Shout out to Lord Tank, Lord Tark. LaFleur says, I don't mind having a female president, but the policies that she pushes matter. Kamala was not convincing or persuasive. Choir Boy says, since the left likes music so much, Trump camp yourself, you have played. Trump camp yourself have played. Mary J. Blige, Mr. Wrong. We love our Mr. Wrong 47. That was a heck of a super chat. Yo, he cooked AOC. I agree. Choir Boy says campaign should have played Mary J. Blige, Mr. Wrong. Oh, okay, all right. I got you. Happy Girl says AOC has to go. These women are destroyers, not all women. She needs to go. They are never going to vote out AOC. James, shout out to James. James, I appreciate you, big dog. James says we are considering relocating to Michigan part-time or full-time. We are reviewing Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is a beautiful beer town. Grand Rapids is a beer town. It is awesome. I love Grand Rapids. Or versus Traverse City Metro. Traverse City is way up. Okay, so if you're looking at the map, Michigan is a thumb like this, or it's a thumb. It's like this. So Michigan, the Metro Detroit area is down here. Traverse City is up here. Okay, it's over towards this area. All right, Traverse City is a really nice town, but it is far away from Detroit. How do you rank these places for the economy? And Traverse City is nice also. And Grove, do you like either more than Detroit? We are a mixed race family. I love Detroit more than anywhere. I think that Oakland County, if you are a mixed race family and you have smaller children, then I would move to Oakland County. Grand Rapids is okay. Traverse City is more of a sleepy town away from things a little bit more. But I like Oakland County in Michigan, specifically Birmingham, Royal Oak, West Bloomfield, Farmington Hills, Bloomfield Hills, all of those places. I like those a lot more for you. But do your research. I do like Traverse City. I do like Grand Rapids. I actually have a video that I did when I visited Grand Rapids. Let me see if I can find that video. Grand Rapids. This is some of my early blogs. Woo! This was published in 2016. That's crazy. This was published in 2016. Y'all don't really realize how long that I've been on YouTube and how long I've been grinding. This channel was not published in 2016, but the Anton Daniels channel was definitely here in 2016. Let me see if I can get something up there. Grand Rapids. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get something up here. Grand Rapids. Ooh. 2016. Jeez, oh peas. What's going on? It's Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I'm doing this 12 cities in 12 months thing. And basically what that is I'm going to visit 12 different cities that I've never... Look at me. I'm driving in a Cadillac. Driving in my Cadillac. Visited before. First city up is Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was born and raised in Michigan, but I've never ever been to Grand Rapids.
Hi guys.
I can't guarantee you that any of this is gonna make
Okay, I don't care.
the cut. Rita.
It doesn't matter. I'm here with you.
But they're not gonna know if they don't make the cut, so.
Yes, it'll make the cut.
So we about to go over to, what the piss name is this, Rita?
Founders
You up there
Brewing
being you, doing what you do. Founders Brewing Company. Can't take these chicks nowhere, man. My person that I have with me is a little uncouth right now.
Significant other, his wife, his love bug.
I'm taking side chick applications though, so. I've always been the same my entire life. And yes, I do have a head of hair. Check that out. I look, this song is really good, man. It's dope here. This song is really good, man. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Anyways, Tom Dog does not need to. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this? Or maybe one thing we did do that I didn't get on camera is I made sure that we hit Hopcat. I don't care where I'm. There's a lot of drinks. There's a lot of. Yeah, we just gonna see what's popping. What is going on, Anton? What's going on? Let's get this up out of here. We don't need to see no more of that. Oh, man. So, yeah, I have been vlogging and documenting the journey and talking about different stuff. And yeah, man. Yes. That was back in 2016. So again, I am an OG YouTuber, so to speak. And see how y'all stressing me out, putting all of this gray in my beard? I ain't have to deal with all of that. Y'all stressing me out here in these streets, you know what I'm saying? Presidential elections and all of that stuff. So let's continue on with the show. Let me read it. No, yes, I have. I've been all over this freaking country, bro. I've been all over the country. So how can we advocate for family unity for migrants, but not for American citizens? We tell women to break up families because I'm not happy. Roderick says, salute, homie, keep doing your thing. Y'all can look at all of these old videos on my other channel, on the Anton Daniels channel. I left all of them up. So they all up over there. Thank you, my friend, says World and World TV. A fourth new law, a treason law to stop people like AOC. Rachel, what up, Rachel, says, you did that in a custom shirt on Laura's show on Fox, Time Dog, and lighting the people while you get into the bag. Shout out to my girl, Rachel. Yeah. I see these women pick and choose who they care about. Children. Yep, I agree with you. AKAs pay for friends. Typical. Yep, I see you, Quentin. Shout out to my dog, Quentin. James G says, in addition to my question above, what is the business climate like in the state right now from your perspective? It's booming. I think that the Midwest is what's going to be rocking out for the next 20 years, 20 to 25 years. Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, all of those places is booming. There's so much money that's going to be made here. I'm going to talk about it. I plan on doing an exclusive video about the business climate of certain cities and what my anticipation is for a lot of the people that's looking to do business in some of these cities, whether it's real estate and all of that. So yeah, man, it's booming here. It's absolutely booming. Amari says, this is why Tom Homan said he'll deport families together. That solves the whole family separation thing because these people are still criminals. That's a fact. Let's get them all out together. Molly says, what up, though? And got that super sticker. I appreciate you, Molly. April in the building says, thank God for being emotionally intelligent and send them back. My dog, Officer Tatum, in the building says, keeping it real. Officer Tatum is my inspiration. Let me tell you why he's my inspiration in this particular way. Officer Tatum is one of my inspirations because I am a student of great content creators and people that do things phenomenally. And I was studying the rise of Officer Tatum 4 years ago, right? I was paying attention to him 4 or 5 years ago, and I seen the evolution. And I also seen how he was able to articulate himself and then capture an audience during the previous election cycle. And so I paid attention to that. And I was watching him. I was watching Charlie Kirk. I was watching Candace Owens. I even was paying attention to a little bit of what was happening with Ben Shapiro. And I was also paying attention to other people that was in the space and stuff like that. And they was in different lanes. And I was looking at Officer Tatum and I said, man, he really knows how to capture an audience at a time that is most critical when all of the eyes are paying attention. And so the thing that people, especially content creators, don't understand is it's not just being good at what you do, it's being good at the right time and then having people really be able to capitalize off of the fact that you got the eyes on you at the right time to display the right message. And so he was a good guy and he was displaying the right message and he was authentic, but at the same time, he was able to communicate effectively to then draw people into the platform to give them the information that they needed in order to be successful. And so I remembered that. I remembered that. And when I started prepping myself 3.5 years ago after being inspired by Officer Tatum to then be able to, capitalize off of the same things in different segments and stuff like that. And I just got to give him his credit. I got to give credit where credit is due. Officer Tatum, I see him on the campuses. I see him taking care of business. I see him running it up. I see him really making an impact in the culture and him holding people accountable for not running the Victim Olympics. And I had so much respect for him and his background and for what it is that he's been communicating to the people. And so I took a lot of inspiration from him on how I could make sure that I capture the hearts of the people the correct way once I got the opportunity to get that visibility. And so I got to give let me give Officer Tatum another round of applause. I got to give him a round of applause because he is very, very great at what he does. And I always like to give flowers to the people. And thank you for showing me love, bro. I see you streaming every day now, too. I like that. I like that. So shout out to Officer Tatum. Red Cup says, Obama separated parents, kept kids in cages. That's true, too. Mr. Marshall in the building says, AD, I lived in the DMV even though it's blue. And state, a lot of black men voted red. MAGA, side note, MAGA hat delivered today, rocking all weekend. Shout out to Mr. Marshall. I love it, bro. J Raider 84 says, what's wrong? What is wrong with you American people? My son was taken from his mother because she did something illegal and I had home since he was born. I don't really know what that means, but shout out to you. Hopefully she don't do anything illegal. AD with the fade is crazy. We getting to it. We was getting to it. Kelvin says Anton been bald all his life, came out the womb bald. No. I can grow some hair right now. And I can buy some additional hair to make sure I fill in some spots. AD had the Allen Houston, Larry Johnson. Are you going to cover videos, Trump's plans next 4 years? I can. We can cover that this week. Quentin Spivey says AD had the Rick Ross hairline. Yes. Ashley Patterson said, can you and Officer T please do a show together? I'll reach out to him and see what he want to do. I love to see you connect with Patrick Bet-David. I actually went to Patrick Bet-David's offices in Fort Lauderdale, and I took a tour, and I met all of the people down there at Patrick Bet-David's offices. He runs this stuff really interesting. I took a lot of inspiration from too. I learned from everybody. Millie Mo, what up, Millie Mo? I appreciate you. Key says, what's up, AD? If you're building a business but still need to make more income to build, position, and invest, what would you do or job would you get? I just would never quit my regular job while I'm building my business. I would lower my expenses incredibly low and make sure that I'm investing almost everything I can into my business. And I would do both at the same time. You got 16, 17 hours that you're awake throughout the day. You spend 8 hours, 9 hours on your regular job. You spend the rest of the time focusing on your business. And if you can, a lot of people actually work from home, so you can leverage the additional time because you don't work the entire time that you're working from home. And so you need to be leveraging that time to make sure that you're building your business at the same time. A lot of people don't have calendars. You need calendars. If you don't have a calendar to help you manage your time more effectively, then you're never going to be successful in business, because I don't know any business person that is not using a calendar to its full capacity. So shout out to you. I'm going to continue to read Super Chat shortly. Let me continue over with the show. So Republicans sweep the House. I only want to spend 10 minutes on this. The Republicans sweep and win control of the House as projected by Newsweek and other publications. Check it out.
Back now with major breaking news and a race call to announce this evening. Decision Desk HQ can now project that Republicans will keep control of the House of Representatives. That means they will have at least 218 seats, Democrats at 209. So still another 10 or 11 seats to call. This is enormous. That means Republicans will control the House, the Senate,
and the presidency,
and the White House. It will have a major impact on how Donald Trump will be able to govern, has a major pick in terms of who he is able to pick for his cabinet, from how the Senate will confirm those cabinet picks. Also a major influence on what kind of legislation he can get through, with Republicans now controlling the House of Representatives. That means a Republican majority leader in the Senate and now a Republican Speaker of the House when Donald Trump takes office on January 20th. Thanks for watching.
So let me pivot for a second and also use some other sources in order to justify what's going on over there. This is also from News Nation.
Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to News Nation. Decision Desk HQ, our polling watching partner, can now say that the GOP will take control of the House of Representatives and therefore all of Congress. Now, why aren't you hearing this everywhere? Because News Nation once again has called it first. The real question is why. Again, DDHQ has been on its game. And just as important, unlike a lot of other outlets, News Nation has no preference in the outcome as long as it is accurate and fair. So there's nothing for us to wait for. If this is what it is, this is what it is. So now let's talk about what it will mean for you, me, and our entire country. With both houses, President-elect Trump will likely be able to get legislation through. Now, as we've seen in the past, a president with both houses can get one, maybe two major pieces done, okay? Then the midterms come, which have been historically punitive to the sitting president. But these days, who knows what happens? But here's what we do know, okay? While it will take time for Democrats and dissatisfied voters to process the loss, that's not really unusual, especially when it came as a surprise, which it did to many here. They're going to have to move through blame, all these hollow hindsight reckonings. That's their fate for now. That shouldn't be our focus. Our focus should be forward. Trump and co. must be forward focused on what they will do to help as many as they can in this country and abroad.
So what this means, and we need to rewind back to 2016, 17, 18, 19. What this means is that he doesn't have the same handcuffs on him that he had back in 2016, 17, and 18, right? Back in those years, what you've seen and experienced from the Trump administration with all of his successes and everything that he did in order to continue to overcome everything that he had to experience when it came to legislating on behalf of the American people is now removed out of his way, and he can absolutely positively exact what his vision is. And so when these people are campaigning, I'll give you an example. Kamala Harris campaigned on getting things through the House in order to reinstall Roe v. Wade. It was nonsense. It was BS. You know why? And Trump said it. He said it during their debate. He said, listen, she can say all of this stuff about what her beliefs are, or, getting all of this information that she says that speaks to your emotions. But the reality is she'll never be able to get it passed through legislation because she won't control the Senate, she won't control the House, and Congress will never approve it. He said it flat out. And while everybody was so focused on whether or not somebody's demeanor or things was happening the way that they thought it was supposed to happen, they weren't paying attention to the true details. And they really a lot of people actually need to take civics 101 before they start to vote. I believe that people need to take civics, a civics class. They need to understand and really be able to recite different parts of the Constitution before they're able to vote. Because the problem with this voting process, and the reason that they don't want to require this, is because it would then educate you too much and you would walk away. I believe that most people will walk away from the Democratic plantation and these liberal agendas that's being spewed to you that then jogs your emotion. And that's why the Democrats ultimately say, hey, get people to register to vote. That's in these Democratic strongholds like the Chicagos and the New Yorks and the Los Angeleses and the DCs, because the more informed you become, the more you'll be able to make a better decision that's in the best interest of your family. And ultimately, you'll be able to decide also what's down ballot and not just who's on the national ticket. So just as important was for him to win the Senate, for him to win the House, and he doesn't have the same level of restrictions on him when they would not fund him, when they would not give him the resources, when they would not support him at the border, when they fought him tooth and nail on his tariffs, that they then wind up leaving in place during the Biden and Kamala Harris administration. Now he has unprecedented ability to exact what he's promised us during his campaign and say, well, listen, we can get this stuff through. We don't have any excuses. Now, there's another side to that, all right? There's another side to that. We don't have any excuses to be able to take care of business and push these things through. So I'm not expecting within the first 2 to 3 years for everything to just be awesome, because he has to fix so much of what happened over the last 3.5 years. However, what I am expecting is for things to actually go swimmingly, to put into place setting up what is going to be beneficial to us long term, and then hopefully allowing for that to leapfrog into whoever it is going to run for president of the United States of America next, such as a J.D. Vance. So we should be feeling the effects of greatness throughout the presidency, and it should ultimately be going up like this because they now have control and the ability to be able to pass through legislation without all of the same restrictions that he experienced in 2016, 17, and 18. You see what I'm saying?
Already,
no
President-elect Trump is sounding like former Trump too often, talking about the past and matters that just simply don't matter. I know the media, or really social media, feeds off this, but our real needs get starved as a result. The conversation collapses into this stupid blame game of who can say the most obnoxious thing. I don't believe that, well, but, Trump is Trump, and he says things that, I don't want to hear that anymore. It's not enough for us right now. This is Donald Trump's last time to serve, and he needs to be about more than going after Anthony Scaramucci for what he says on some morning cable show. Yes, I heard all the buzz about this. I didn't reply online because it's nonsense. There is no interview with me and Anthony Scaramucci that led to his getting fired. There's a whole story to why he got fired. Had nothing to do with me or us being, Italian friends. It's just a waste of time. The only interesting thing about it is how much younger I was just a few years ago. This is what life can do to you. So forget about the past. Forget about the drama. What legislation will you advance? Immigration? Tax and regulation cuts?
Yep.
Might this administration try to do them together? Today, especially today, we are reminded about why our president has to be more than the tweeter-in-chief. There is awesome responsibility. There is awesome need to take care of us. And
a lot of times Chris wants to act like he doesn't have a personal vendetta or, hey, listen, we're just completely objective about this whole thing. I don't believe that. I believe that he has bias. As you can see, he wanted to bring that up instead of just speaking to the fact that the GOP controls all three branches of government. Instead of speaking to that, he wants to make it personal and insert his own personal beefs into it. First, he wanted to preface the conversation by saying, well, listen, we can call it because we're completely objective and we're not picking a side. And then he adds in this extra caveat to make it because he wants to justify what he's feeling so that he then can say, hey, you on the clock. Y'all need to make sure that y'all get stuff done. Shut up, man. He ain't even in the office yet. He don't even take office until January 20th. He don't even take office until January 20th. He's already getting stuff done, already named the chief of staff, already named the border czar, already taking care of business. And Chris is feeling butthurt at the fact that Trump called him out for a previous interview. Come on, Chris, get over yourself. And if it wasn't a thing, then you wouldn't have brought it up.
Those who take care of us. Today, we say thank you, right? To the men and women who are serving and have served our veterans. America is not what she is or how she is regarded around the world without you, men and women. Our service men and women and their families matter. They deserve honor and attention, and not just today. There is a need for a focus on them in this new administration. Here's the good news. Unemployment for veterans, reportedly at a historic low, lower than the rest of society. But they do have higher rates of mental health problems, issues that can go untreated. 17 a day die by suicide, the #1 gun crime in America. That number is 50% higher than the rest of society. And while the
I wonder why that's happening under this particular administration, but we're going to get there.
Current administration helped the situation, there is still a large portion of homeless veterans in this country. So those who risked everything for us may get our attention today, but there's a lot more we need to give back to them every other day of.
And I think that Trump is absolutely a man of the people. He honors our military. He loves what's going on, but they are going to be on the clock once January 20th starts. And so now that we've removed all of the excuses, I'm going to be just as objective, even though I am a heavy supporter of the Trump administration. I think that he did a phenomenal job during his campaign. He did a phenomenal job while he was previously in office. And I think that he's going to do even better this time because he knows more. He has the right people around him. He also controls all three branches of government, and we can actually get legislation passed. I think that it's going to look very good. And once people experience greatness, that the midterms is going to go in the same favor as the Republicans also. And so I'm looking forward to this administration doing some great things. Shout out to the House and the people. Really, it's the people. It's you guys. Shout out to you guys for ultimately voting the way that you did, that then allowed for Trump to be able to get things done and for us to pass the legislation needed to change this country and move it in the right direction. Shout out to y'all. Let me give y'all a round of applause. All right? Read a couple more super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. Do you think the rate of abortions would decrease if both parents had to agree in the abortion? No, I don't. And the reason why I say that is because the people that are getting deletions or removing these unwanted pregnancies are the ones that are making the worst decisions in the first place of who they're opening up their legs to. I believe that just as many men want these women to get these deletions because of the type of men that they're sleeping with as the women that are voluntarily doing it for themselves. I do not believe that it would make a difference at all. At all, whatsoever. I believe that the people that are opening up their legs and then they are getting multiple different deletions in order to prevent unwanted pregnancies as a form of contraception, I believe that the lowest of the low of us are the ones that are doing this. And I don't think that that would change. I don't think that it would decrease the rate at all. At all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Nope, I don't. At all. So, there you go. AD, you Cool G rap with the fade. Night J says, Dems want Biden to retire so Kim can be president. Yeah, I heard about that nonsense. They just doing anything for moral victories. Patrick David hired Frito, but knew he will always, PBD hired Frito, but knew he will always be a hater. Interesting. Anyways, let's continue on with the show. I appreciate y'all for always showing love and for the super chats. What do we got up next? Tulsi Gabbard. All right, so Tulsi actually speaks about her role next to Trump and how she will serve our next president. I think that Tulsi is absolutely a rock star. If I ever had to, or if I was ever in a position to make a decision of a woman that becomes president of the United States of America, right now, she is at the top of the list. If I was to ever select a woman that I thought would ever be the president of the United States of America, if you put a gun to my head and said, pick a woman right now, it will be Tulsi all day long. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Let's talk about everybody else and what matters here. The fact that we have all these troops in the region, this is an issue of sensitivity for you about where America is and why. Do you believe that this is something that will be rethought by the Trump administration?
Well, thank you, Chris. It's good to be with you on your show, and I appreciate you recognizing our veterans, my brothers and sisters in uniform, and the many challenges that our veterans in this country still face alongside their families. And to me, the most important commitment that veterans and servicemen and women should have from our leaders in this country, the best way to recognize that service and sacrifice and to say thank you is to make sure that our men and women in uniform are only sent into harm's way, are only sent to war as a last resort, after all measures of diplomacy have been exhausted. Now, this is one of the many reasons why I think so many Americans turned out to vote for President Trump, is because he understands this. And we've seen how through his last administration, he didn't just talk about ending wars, he actually went out and did that work of direct diplomacy. He went out.
That's one of the things that I never understood from the Biden-Harris administration, unless somehow they are indirectly benefiting from being warmongers, from the Democratic Party being warmongers, is how can you never speak to Vladimir Putin? How can you? The thing that we have to do is we have to learn from others and what they did well and what they didn't do well. And the one thing that Trump did incredibly well is he exacted a level of diplomacy that allowed for him to actually get more American troops home, to have no new wars. And then right after he left out of office, we in all of these proxy wars, and we spending more money than we ever have on countries participating in things that does not benefit the American people. And so when Trump says, or J.D. Vance, actually, J.D. Vance, he communicated this very clearly. I believe he was on NBC and he was doing an interview. And he said, listen, we can't say that they're our enemy. We can say that they're our adversary, but not our enemy, because we have to have a level of diplomacy in order to make sure that we don't have to be friends, but we got to do something that's in the best interest of both of our countries. And war is a zero-sum game. We do not want to be in it. We got to end it, and we have to have a level of diplomacy. And so I don't understand why, maybe they're just completely incompetent, maybe they're being advised wrong, but I never understood why Biden and Kamala Harris never communicated with or tried to end these wars. What did they think? That they just be in forever war? Would you think that Ukraine is at some point going to take over Russia? Stop. It's not going to happen.
Met with dictators and adversaries in that pursuit of peace for the American people. So in his next administration, and he was very vocal about this throughout this presidential campaign, that his goal is to end wars, not start them. His goal is to prevent World War III and nuclear war, and spoke many times about things that Kamala Harris never brought up during her campaign, about how he understands the seriousness of the stakes and the threats that we face as the American people, specifically because of the foreign policy decisions made under the current administration.
You see how well she speaks? This is in stark contrast to Kamala Harris. And she served.
And so I can tell you, as someone who still wears the uniform, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve, as someone who's deployed to multiple war zones in different parts of the world.
Unlike Tim Walz, she got a better record than Tim Walz and Kamala Harris.
The most important responsibility that any president has is to serve as commander-in-chief. And it's important on this day as Veterans Day, as well as you said, as every day, to recognize the best way to ensure our gratitude is shown to those who serve and their families is to make sure war is a last resort, and if it is required, that we take care of our men and women in uniform if and when they come home.
Y'all missed the word salad.
LTC Gabbard,
is bothering y'all.
Thank you for your service, of course, and your family, because the whole family serves, no matter which member it is. The sacrifice is real, and you may serve again. What is your attitude towards being a member of the Trump administration?
President Trump is going through, and I know this is how he's spending a lot of his time right now, is looking at making these decisions about who he wants to serve on his team and in his cabinet. If there is any way that I can help achieve that goal and objective of preventing World War III and nuclear war, of course, I'd be honored to serve.
Where do you think you would be of most help to President Trump and this administration?
In a place where I can do that. There are a few different roles, I think, within this administration. But again, President Trump will make his decision, and it looks like he's already making some announcements this week.
They're coming out. We're seeing them. But you've never been one to want to play politics. Have you been active in the process, or you're just waiting to be asked?
No, I've been active as a member of the transition team. As you know, Chris, there are thousands of positions that a new administration has to fill within all of these federal agencies. And so we are doing our best to try to bring people together who support President Trump's vision, specifically as it relates to national security and foreign policy, to try to prevent what happened last time, which was he ended up with some neocons around him who were trying to, and I saw this as a member of Congress, they said yes to his face, and then around his back were trying to undermine his objectives so that they could feed their goals of continuing to keep us in a perpetual state of war to the detriment of the American people and our troops.
So she said that Trump had some snakes around him, and that's why he had to fire some people that was around him in order to put themselves in a position where they can govern more effectively this time. I think that Tulsi Gabbard is a phenomenal person to have around Trump. I like Byron Donalds. I like all of his picks that he's had so far. I like his chief of staff. I like RFK Jr. I like all of these people. I like Tom Homan. I think that all of these people are absolutely great to be a part of his administration that's ultimately going to make up as a dream team. Trump has the Avengers. He has the dream team around him right now, and people protecting him in order to make sure that they do the things that's in the best interest of the American people. I heard Dems won't let Trump in office, huh? Well, you heard wrong on that one. The American people even voted him in. American Virus is Freedom says we don't have enemies, we make them. When I went to Afghanistan 3 times in Ranger Bat, they thought we were Russians because we were white. Shout out to you. I appreciate you and thank you for serving our country, my friend. Let me go over to this last part. I want to talk about the money a little bit, all right? I want to talk about the money because I know that tariffs are a big subject. People don't understand them. They don't understand that our tax system has changed and it's basically subsidizing what it is that we're passing off as social services, and we giving out all of this money and we basically being social services across overseas and stuff like that. And one of the big sticking points within the UAW, even though the Biden administration had basically sought and won Shawn Fain, president of UAW's approval, they could not get the Teamsters union approval, and with good measure, because we need to understand why money plays such a huge role in politics and why most of the UAW members did not endorse and did not vote for Kamala Harris, and they weren't going to vote for Biden, even though the union president, Shawn Fain, sold out his whole body, the whole body of workers. He sold them out in order to give his vote of confidence over to Biden just because he went over there with a teleprompter. And I always wonder, how are these people, what are these conversations that's happening behind the scenes? You know what I'm saying? What's happening behind the scenes? How is this playing out? And so I always wondered that, and I recently seen a video drop on CNBC that basically address and I haven't watched this video yet, but brings forth light on why U.S. automakers can't sell cheap cars inside of the United States of America anymore. Let's deep dive.
The average car price is nearly $50,000, a 30% increase over the past 5 years.
Basic automobile is $50,000 or more.
Monthly payments are also close to an all-time high.
There are plenty of models that are going for more than $100K.
A record number of owners are underwater, paying more on their loans than their vehicles are worth. Even so, automakers have resisted making cheaper ones. Margins are slim and costs are high. Chinese cars are cheap, but those are getting slapped with tariffs. Insiders say U.S. carmakers can't depend on protectionism. They'll have to cut costs and sell cheaper. Even without government support, some Chinese firms have big advantages.
We tried to lay out that it's not evolutionary change. Like, you actually have to make quantum change to the organization, culture, and approach to be able to achieve that.
Shout out to Car Fairbanks. I love you, baby.
Americans are paying more for nearly everything than they were a few years ago. But car prices have outpaced even inflation. They're off pandemic-era highs, but not by a lot.
What do you think about how car prices have been over the last few years?
They're astronomical, but I mean, the technology keeps advancing. Technology isn't free.
I shopped around quite a bit. Before, I was driving a Toyota Highlander, and the prices had went up a lot. And it was not all electric, and I wanted to move to something more environmentally friendly. So I went with the Tesla.
Oh my goodness. I was trying to repurchase a Camry and using the prices that I had from 10 years ago, and it just wasn't, it wasn't the same.
So what does the industry consider an affordable car? According to the Center for Automotive Research, it would cost about $25,000. The average U.S. household spends about 15% of income on transportation. That's everything: car, gas, maintenance, and so on.
They must not have been to the hood, because that's wrong. That is not an accurate assessment of what people... Let me tell you something. I don't know where they're getting that number from, but I will tell you, as a person that has coached hundreds, if not thousands of people on their finances and their budget and went through and seen what people are making and what they spending on their cars, I will tell you that it's some people that spends upwards of 25, 30, 40% of their income on cars. And I don't think that we've really made ourselves, that we've educated ourselves to the point to where we really need to understand exactly how we are spending our budget. Most people don't even have a budget. Most people pay their bills off of memory. Most people pay their bills off of memory. And the true cost of a car is similar to the true cost of a home, and we don't know either. We don't know either, because I'll give you an example. Some people, they go and buy a home, and let's say that they get a realtor and they get approved, and they say, you're approved for this amount. And so most people, they go and look for a home based off of what they're approved of. If you approve $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, you usually go and look at homes that said $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. And they say, well, this is what my house note will be. But they don't really take into consideration the true cost of a home. What about property taxes? What about insurance? What about HOA fees? They say that most of the new homes that are sold, over 78% of the new homes that are sold, ultimately have HOA fees, and those HOA fees are going up. What about maintenance? When you have a water heater go out, or you need a new roof, or there's a crack in the concrete, or you have to get the air conditioner done, or you need some more Freon in it, or you got to get a floor replaced, or, something. Anything happens. Anything happens. Microwave go out. Refrigerator need to be replaced. None of those costs are baked into the true cost of ownership, home ownership. And so when you see people a lot of times and they say, well, it's better to own than to rent. Yes and no, but it depends on the circumstance. Because in the first 10 years of home ownership, the majority of your payment, even just the house note itself, is going towards the interest for the home. And most people get 30-year mortgages because they promote that. And it's the same thing when it comes to car. We have become so ingrained in financing that we think that it's normal to have a car note. And it is not supposed to be that way. That is a tactic that has been strategized and implemented by the banks and the industry itself. It was banks working with the automakers, and then sometimes the automakers even created their own finance arm to sell more vehicles. If you understood, if you were a part of Stock Club, if you were a person that's a part of the Patreon, and you were going through when you were listening to me talk, like for example, yesterday, and I was breaking down different industries, I could tell you, for example, that in the automotive world, the finance arm, even if it's of the same company, let's say you do GM Financial, right? Or Toyota Capital or whatever, Mercedes-Benz Financial or Porsche, whatever it is that you got, right? That the minute that that car is manufactured and shipped over to the dealership, that is counted as a sale regardless of whether or not somebody actually purchases the vehicle. So the carrying costs for the dealer themselves are higher the longer that those cars sit on the lot, whereas the automaker itself has already recorded that transaction in accounting as a sale, and so that actually is off the books. Now, if these cars are sitting on the lot for 100 days, 200 days, and they can't get rid of them, you got new 2023s that's still sitting on the lot, and we're about to be in 2025 and let out the 2026s, then that means that the automakers have overcapacity, right? And so what they did was they conspired with the banks to get you guys to finance cars in order to move more vehicles. The banks make money off the interest. The automakers can record more vehicles going off the lot. And so what happens is they all make money at your expense, your behest, because the true cost of a car is no longer what that transaction price is. It's what you're going to be paying over the life of the loan. And we don't pay attention to that. We only pay attention to what's the car note. We don't even look at the insurance. We don't look at the gas. We don't look at the plates. We don't look at none of that stuff. We don't look at tires. We don't look at oil changes. We don't look at nothing. We just say, man, what's the car note? Oh, can I swing it? Is it in my budget? Keeping up the Joneses. Buy it. Kill your wealth. Supposed to be putting that in something else. You out of your bracket. You can't really afford it. And so now we become so addicted to financing that they've inflated the price so much. And then you combine that with union members ultimately saying, well, we want more wages and we want a record contract. Well, then that means they got to bake that cost into the vehicle itself, in addition to the technology, in addition to the interest payments, in addition to workers' salaries and all of that stuff. And then you get to a point where legislation is so bad that that's then reminding you that you have to meet these EV regulations. And then you have to start baking those costs into the vehicles that you're selling right now for research and development to ultimately move over into an EV world. And that's why Trump was saying, we don't want to make people move over into that. We want capitalization or the market to determine where people are buying their vehicles. Because automakers was also baking into the cost of that vehicle. So they selling these trucks, these pickup trucks, these Jeeps for $90,000, $100,000. Well, you're not just paying for the truck itself. You're paying for the research and development and ultimately the infrastructure and the deployment of this new thing that they're making you do and moving over into EVs and this new moderation that's then beset by California, the legislation, and the infrastructure that's then being stood up. For example, the infrastructure bill that was passed by Kamala Harris and Biden during their administration. And so you're not paying for today, you're paying for tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons, among several, why automakers are so hard to afford and you no longer are getting cheap cars because it's no longer profitable. You can't even get workers to build it at a profitable rate, and you got to be a volume producer to build a cheap car. So then automakers back in the early or the late 2000s, right, and then going into 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 said we can't make cars no more unless it's fleets. We can't make cars no more. American automakers, they got out of the car business, and all of them are being manufactured overseas, except for Elon Musk and Tesla.
So, about 51% of the population can reasonably afford a loan on a $25,000 car at 8% interest for 48 months. If you extend the term of the loan, the percentage goes up from there. The issue is there are very few cars at that price. Prior to 2018, cars that sold for less than $20,000 made up about a fifth of the market. Since then, they have all but vanished. A few models might start there, but no car sold in September 2024 had an average sticker price below $20K. Only 6 are below $25.
Y'all
Meanwhile,
need to make
models
sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We break all of this down and then we bring it back to the money to help you to understand how you need to invest in these companies. And if these companies are smart to invest in, including the 8 things that we look for when we're looking to invest in the stock market, okay? The stock market is more than just timing. It's more than just who's the president. It's also the fundamentals. You got to understand the fundamentals before we can deep dive into the charts, all right? I'll show you how to look at the charts. I'll show you how to look at the profit margins. I'll show you how to look at the debt to equity ratio, every single thing, management, all of that. We break it all down from a C student's perspective to where you can truly understand it and you're not questioning it so you can make a more informed decision. And then that thing affects every part of your life.
Sales of new cars over $60,000 have soared.
You're selling directly to people who want a lot of bells and whistles, and so there isn't a lot of direct targeting of people who would want a small, cheap car. This might be a strategic mistake.
Here's how they got so expensive. Factor 1, the continued rise of the sport utility vehicle. They went from about 30% of sales in 2009 to over 50% in 2019. Americans just love big cars.
They do.
When Ford released the now discontinued subcompact EcoSport SUV, it said the average price would be $4,500 higher than Ford would get from the Fiesta, even though the SUV and the car shared the same platform. Second factor, priorities changed.
The legacy automakers in the US have been pretty explicit about, we are going for profits, we are not going for volume. And so we are going to sacrifice volume if it gives us a bigger margin. And that's a different strategy than they've followed in the past.
GM has become known for this strategy, especially under current CEO Mary Barra. Fiat Chrysler, now Stellantis, was very early to cutting high volume but low profit vehicles like sedans. In 2023, profits at GM and Ford were the highest in at least a decade, and Stellantis reported a record. Many global automakers have enjoyed similar gains.
General Motors, for example, has these activist investors sitting on their board, and if they don't buy back billions of dollars worth of stock, Mary Barra could be out of a job. And so it forces a more short-term calculation than she might want.
I think that
but automakers have had to make investments in technology that they weren't certain would pay off.
That's an example of a female leader that I think is a great CEO. I think Mary Barra is a very smart and a good CEO, and I think that she's running GM really well right now.
Like EVs, software-defined vehicles, advanced safety, driver assistance, and autonomous driving. That money has to come from somewhere.
The one meaningful way to make that transition from a financial standpoint is to create a highly profitable internal combustion engine business and continue to manage those profits while you reduce the number of vehicles. And so you have to continue to make good profits to generate the free cash flow you need to feed the EV ever-hungry side of the business.
That's exactly
the trouble for automakers, the business is not that profitable compared with others. About 70% of a vehicle's price goes to the direct cost of producing it.
Tough This Smart.
Which includes robotics, it includes retooling these factories, it includes assembly, it includes worker pay, it includes materials, it includes stamping, it includes all of the subsequent suppliers that supply you all of the stuff. It includes steel, everything that goes into it. 70% of a car, well, traditional cars, not Teslas, goes into producing the vehicle.
Only be called F-150.
About 20 to 25% goes to marketing and everything else. That leaves a 5 to 10% profit. Third factor, the coronavirus.
Remember when I was breaking down margins to y'all in Stock Club yesterday? And I was comparing margins from between the different companies and the different industries and how you can then make a more informed decision, and then also how that was affecting what was going on in the election. Once you inform, you can make a more informed decision.
Pandemic. Production shutdowns, supply chain shortages, and other constraints tightened supply. Dealers raised prices. Then automakers did. Affordability plummeted.
Remember, the story has been, for much of the last 6 months, you either cut price or you cut volume. And they've decided they're not cutting price.
But profits come at the cost of increasingly alienated customers.
Automakers meet with their dealerships on a regular basis, and particularly they do this every January at one specific gathering. And the news that came out of that gathering last year was dealerships were saying, please send us more things that we can profitably sell for less. I guess that's the message they're getting from people walking in the door.
So the question is, how do American automakers get those prices down? There is some wind at their backs. EVs are expected to get cheaper with time. Battery costs are falling faster than forecasted, with big drops to come. New, stronger forms of steel may allow car makers to use less. The simple skateboard platforms EVs are built on are easily adapted to vehicles of different sizes, spreading out costs. The Chevrolet Equinox, GM's least expensive EV, is about $300,000 less than the Cadillac Celestiq, GM's priciest, but they use the same platform. New manufacturing methods can help too. Tesla said its proposed but not yet implemented unboxing method can cut costs in half and factory size by nearly that much. Automakers might also partner and consolidate. Two companies can share production lines and make similar cars with different brands. One can contract with another to build vehicles for a country where the first has no presence.
Could be a BYD setting up shop in Mexico, having a partnership with one of the U.S. car makers or brands, and then they sell vehicles here.
Right now, the biggest thing about the tariffs is that Chinese automakers, including BYD, which is largely an electric vehicle platform, is being subsidized by China themselves. And then they're trying to circumvent those tariffs. Well, prior to Trump getting in office, they were trying to circumvent the tariffs by basically building and then shipping over and then assembling them over in Mexico and then shipping them into the United States of America, which is one of the reasons why Trump wanted to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement between Canada and Mexico, in addition to the tariffs on China. So there's a lot to unpack there. I don't want to deep dive too much into it because I don't want to confuse people. But we'll continue to have this conversation as the Trump administration takes place. And then I'll tell you guys how you're going to be affected. And if you work in any of these industries, what you need to do in order to A, either preserve your job, or B, be in a position to capitalize off of what's happening with this administration. And make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, let me go ahead and make sure that y'all have nothing else up here real quick. Go on, post, so Mike that dude. And again, congratulations to Whitney Hutchinson. We love you. We appreciate you. All right, we got after hours tonight, and it's absolutely going to be awesome with me, my girl Carrie, Slimmy, Quentin. It's going to be popping. Shout out to Mika. Shout out to everybody that support the platform. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. Come kick it with me in Detroit, December 14th. It's going to be lit. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. All right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all tonight. Peace.